Thanks very much, Godfrey. And of course, June 1st is right around the corner. And of course, that means the beginning of a lot of things, but also the beginning of the hurricane season. Of course, we have a hot topic in the studio this morning, no pun intended, but we have Mr. Dario Wood, who is the Assistant Manager of Underground Maintenance at BPL, and he is joined by Mr. Craig Knowles, Assistant Engineer of Overhead Construction with BPL. And of course, you know what we're talking about. We're talking about hurricanes, and we're talking about electricity. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Welcome to Bombers at Sunrise.
Good morning.
So June 1st begins the hurricane season, and if it's any indication by the weather patterns, it's going to be a hot summer, it's going to be a challenging summer, and it also has the potential, obviously, again, for the creation of hurricanes over the season. But let's talk a little bit more about what it is that you guys do in particular at BPL. You're responsible for overhead lines or power distribution, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, speak a little bit, Craig, about the positions that both of you have within BPL, the responsibilities.
Well, I have responsibilities for overhead construction, which includes the installation of poles, overhead lines, and associated transformers and hardware. And normally that's the pieces of equipment that are impacted during a hurricane for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And so normally during hurricanes, that's where I pay all my attention with regard to assisting in restoring supplies in that particular area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, I would have responsibility for the underground maintenance section.
Okay.
That includes all of the underground network from distribution and also the transmission areas of the company.
Now, obviously, during hurricanes, the overhead lines seem to be the ones that are impacted the most. I would imagine, you're not just busy during hurricanes throughout the year. Speak a little bit about, what it means to maintain those lines, even in preparation for a hurricane.
Well, one of the things we do, we focus on, especially at this particular time, up to an approaching hurricane season, is to ensure that the trees are trimmed away from the power lines. We do encourage consumers to participate with that as well, and ensuring that those trees are trimmed away. But we also inform individuals if anything is like within 10 feet of the power line, we ask you to call BPL. That's when it gets to be dangerous, and that's where the individuals who have the equipment and the training would need to come into play to ensure that the tree trimming is done in a safe manner. At the same time, we're doing all of our repairs. Mr. Wood, working in maintenance, him and his counterparts would be very involved in terms of ensuring that the condition of the poles and the lines are maintained, that we don't have any issues with rotten poles, etc. And those that matters are addressed prior to the hurricane season.
All right, so obviously people don't have to wait for an upcoming hurricane or a pending hurricane to say, listen, there's this tree that I'm concerned about, it's near this line. So when we talk about trees and power lines, so what exactly happens when a tree or debris hits a live power line? Well, I mean, what's the major concern there?
Well, the tree itself, once it's still planted, is actually a path to earth.
Okay.
Right. So once that tree makes contact with any power line, there's going to be some sort of disturbance because of that.
Okay.
Right. So that's one of the reasons why we pay strict attention to having those lines cleared away from the trees. Now, even you can have maybe rotten limbs once the tree is in a certain proximity to the power lines, that we always try to keep clear.
What should people do if they see a downed power line? I mean, obviously, stay away, I would imagine, and contact BPL.
Most definitely. Once a line is down, don't assume it's the telco Care Bahamas.
Okay.
Assume it's an energized line, and allow BPL the opportunity to come out and do the proper assessment. We always tell customers, don't take a risk, don't take a chance. Electricity will not necessarily give you a second chance.
Okay.
And so we need to be careful. And once you see a down line, you don't touch the line or anything the line is making contact with. A fence, a tree, etc. So you need to be very careful to stay away from those things.
And to make it clear, it doesn't matter what the line looks like, they should contact BPL first, whether it's cable or BTC. You guys would come and do the assessment.
That's correct.
Okay. During a storm, how quickly, this always comes up every year, but how quickly does BPL get out during storm conditions to assess and repair power lines? Is there a protocol?
Well, usually there is a time limit where we get an all clear.
Okay.
That all clear would come from all of the other agencies that deal with hurricanes.
Okay.
Once they give the all clear, then we come out and we do an assessment. And that assessment itself is normally about a 24-hour period. So individuals should bear in mind that if their supply is off right after the hurricane, it's possible that there is no restoration at least until a 24-hour period.
Okay.
Because that's the time we go out and assess what is broken, what is down, and what requires immediate attention.
In terms of communicating, you know, I would imagine information or even strategy, or what's the best, you know, because even just recently, you know, WhatsApp, you know, and the social media, you hear a lot of things that seem to be coming out that speak to either outages or speak to possible outages or repairs. You know, what's the most authentic source of information that comes out from BPL?
Well, we recommend customers call in 302-1000, call in the BPL, and we will have individuals you can contact and give you information. You can go onto our Facebook page and you can get information from there as well. But one of the things we always want to emphasize is that you need to be very wary of other sources of information. Come to BPL. We're the ones that do the work. We're the ones who are aware of the circumstances. We've been doing the assessment. We would have that information. So we would require and encourage customers to come to speak to us.
One final question. A lot of people have gotten generators over the years. What advice do you give to them?
Well, the advice that I give to anybody with a generator is make sure it is installed by a reputable technician. One of the problems that we have with generators installed on the system is if it's not installed properly, if we have a power line, that generator can backfeed into the system. It poses a health risk to not only themselves, but also the individuals coming to work on carry out those repairs. And the other thing also is portable generators in itself is whilst they're running, not to have them in close proximity to the house where the fumes can go back into the house and again cause another health risk.
Thank you. Well, I tell you what, Dario Craig, thank you once again for joining us at Bahamas at Sunrise. The season is upon us. And of course, anybody that's looking for additional information on hurricane tips, please feel free to visit the website and also the Facebook of BPL. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.